3 o'clock. This is Queen City News Plus Live on a Wednesday, coming to you live from the Blue Room. I'm Derek Dellinger alongside anchor Morgan Francis, meteorologist Andrew Brightman, and we also have producer-director Austin McCollum here in what has been a busy day for news across the area. Usually always is a busy day, but it's also been a bit of a warmer day compared to what we've seen the past little bit as well, because it's been clearing up. We'll have that forecast coming up in just a moment, but we do want to start off in Minneapolis, where there has been a bit of a reduction, a development and a reduction in the number of officers that are in Minneapolis.
Yeah, 700 of them, of the immigration officers, are supposed to leave Minneapolis. This comes after weeks of turmoil following the shooting deaths of Renee Good and Alex Preddy. Local officials, they agreed to cooperate with ICE by turning over the arrested immigrants. And the border czar, Tom Homan, said that basically he said this whole time that he needs cooperation from local authorities and to not interfere with ICE. And it sounds like the two sides are starting to kind of come together on this. Yes,
they are. In fact, and this is a large part of this has kind of been in response, or at least some of this has revolved around the news regarding Renee Wood and also Alex Preddy. Those are the two people that were killed in interactions with ICE officers the past couple of weeks or so. And we should mention, though, that even though there's been a reduction of about 700, there's still going to be apparently about 2,000 immigration officers within the state, and no timeline has been given for this to happen just yet. This is also coming, too, just in the past hour or so, the past couple of hours or so. President Trump did give an interview to NBC News where he said that there perhaps needs to be a softer touch on immigration, basically in response to some of the stuff that's happened so far, because what has happened in Minnesota specifically has not necessarily been well received nationally, or for that matter, across the world.
It's definitely a shift in the tone that we've heard from representatives with the Trump administration. In an interview with the Megyn Kelly show, Vice President J.D. Vance said the agents were being sent home largely to protect the ones who were carrying out the arrests. And he also said there's really, aren't needed anymore because of the cooperation with local police. So there are a few little differences in opinion as to why what's happening and is happening. But, there isn't causation, but there is correlation here with these agents being taken out of Minneapolis and the DHS funding that has been held up by Democrats when it comes to ending the government shutdown. So,
and frankly, optics too.
Well, yeah, I mean, you have all this huge conflict in Minnesota, and the Democrats are saying we don't want more funding for ICE, we want less, and they decided to kind of take the additional DHS funding out of the bill, pass the bill, and now it's on a 2-week timeline here.
Yes, and we could be getting some more details as to how much of this could be and how much cooperation there actually is coming up in the next couple of days or weeks. The announcement here made in just the past day or so, so we'll be keeping an eye on that. Speaking of ICE, there is some public records request was done by the American Civil Liberties Union, and they have come to find out that apparently Greensboro was on a short list for a new spot for a detention facility for immigration, and that's according to these documents. Greensboro leaders say they have no clue what exactly this was.
I find it interesting, but not necessarily surprising, because a lot of times these things start before they get to city council, right? They're doing the research, and it sounds like proximity played a huge part into this, because they wanted to be close to hospitals, airports, immigration courts. So it wasn't just Greensboro. It was immigration detention centers across the United States.
Yes.
So Greensboro was just one of them. So eventually this will have to come in front of city council, because what the mayor had mentioned, along with a few others, is there's a zoning issue here, because this property, it's a 100-acre property. It's owned by the American Hebrew Academy. They've been closed since 2019, and they've been leasing out the property to Department of Health and Human Services
for immigration purposes. Too.
Well, but it's been, the zoning is education based.
Yes.
So it doesn't allow for a detention center. So it's not a done deal, but there seem to have been plans in the works. Yeah, but it will need to go in front of city council.
Those city leaders are basically saying a detention center would not be an allowable use in this circumstance, which is part of the reason why, if this were to come before city council, there would have to be a change in the zoning laws. And you could just imagine how much of a pushback there might be among people in Greensboro, at least over
a lot of attention at the very least. Also, a lot of attention on this national story, just horrible, surrounding the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie. She's been missing after she returned home from dinner with her daughter and son-in-law since 9:30 p.m. on Saturday. She didn't show up at church the next day. The latest information out there really coming from news organizations and their sources. So Fox News is saying through one of their sources that there was a trail of blood leading out the door.
And there's some pictures suggesting that
indicated that there was some sort of, that she didn't leave on her own accord. TMZ received an alleged ransom note demanding payment in the form of Bitcoin, millions of dollars, and it was a very specific Bitcoin address, and they verified that the address is legitimate. So they, of course, handed that over to authorities. But a lot of the information that's coming out isn't coming out from authorities.
Yes, Nancy Guthrie, by the way, is the mother of the woman you see right there.
Right.
Today's show host Savannah Guthrie. And part of the reason it's been national, it's become national news, is because this does involve Savannah Guthrie's mother. Now, authorities say she was, or they believe that she was taken from her home forcibly over the weekend. There were signs of forced entry into the home. She is without some medication, some life-saving medication that she needs, apparently, but they did notice that her car was still there, her wallet and her cell phone was still there, and they're still trying to figure out exactly where she is right now. And we also do know that there has been a bit of a federal response into this search effort as well. Not only is the FBI helping out with this, but we also know the Border Patrol unit that is in the Tucson area, has also been aiding in the search for it,
and
too.
Savannah Guthrie, meanwhile, has pulled out of covering the Olympics, obviously, with everything going on
And from
surrounding
hosting
her
Today's Show,
family.
yes.
Just horrible, and everyone pleading to the public for any sort of information to help bring her home.
Yeah. Other big story today, and this it actually involves something else that's of a North Carolina connection. Ryan Routh sentenced to life in prison for the assassination attempt against President Trump. You might remember this one was after that first assassination attempt that happened. This one was while apparently President Trump, while he was still campaigning, was on the golf course in Florida, and involved Ryan Routh. He's actually from the had at one point lived in the Triad area. And he was convicted earlier today of trying to assassinate President Trump. He was sentenced to life in prison. And the federal prosecutors say the crime was, quote, unacceptable in this country or anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, a Secret Service agent spotted him, and chased him off, spotted the gun and shot at Routh, chasing him off. And this was September of 2024 when now President Trump was running for his second term. Routh's attorney suggested that the 27-year sentence would be punishment enough for the crime, citing no one was hurt. Obviously, prosecutors disagreed and said that the assassination attempt was just narrowly averted.
Yes, Routh was sentenced to life without parole plus 7 years on a gun charge. And what was interesting also apparently during this the sentencing, Routh read some rambling 20-page statement during all this. The judge actually had to break in at one point and said that none of what he was saying was relevant, gave him 5 more minutes to talk. So there was, shall we say, some interesting statements. So it sounds like they were made during this.
It's not surprising, right? Because at his conviction, he tried to stab himself with a pen.
Yeah.
So, it's just kind of matches with what we've already seen with this guy.
some potential mental health concerns with him, but none of this was really mentioned in any of the proceedings that happened today. So we've got all this snow that's kind of still around the area and how it's affecting various places. We know that's affected some daycare centers, especially for some of the employees here. Yeah, and care for their kids. But we know this has affected schools as well. And it sounds like this is going to be a bit of an issue, at least for the next couple of days. The problem is, though, is that this has kind of been an issue with the ice that we had the week before. It's been a problem for a couple of weeks now.
So here's the thing. There are a number of school districts that, they have a limitation on how many snow days, how many remote learning days they can have. And this is a story that Matt Stell is working on for our television broadcast later on today on Queen City News. But I think it's Austin, correct me if I'm wrong. It was at Iredell Statesville schools that had 5 allowable remote learning days, and they've used 8.
Correct. And now they've applied for a waiver from the state so that they don't get penalized.
Yeah.
Or they'll have to cut into, any sort of Easter break that they have coming up or summer break. So this has really impacted families, not to mention, if you can only imagine the parents who don't work from home, who have to use their sick time or PTO to cover for it.
Yeah, we know some parents who've had to do it here.
Yeah, and it's the beginning of the year. Meanwhile, these students, they just got done with their Christmas break. And so they've hardly been in school
exactly.
in 2026 so far. So it's a frustration for parents, and I'm sure for school officials as well. It's Mother Nature, and it's something that we can't really do a whole lot about it.
Yes, and I remember when I was growing up, when you were in the public school system, it was basically added on until the end at the end of the year. Sometimes they would go. It would just depend on the amount of snow days that there were. Sometimes it would go in a little bit into spring break, but they tried to avoid that as much as they could. But adding days basically to end of May or June was normally the thing that they did. And problem is, though, is that a lot of districts, and especially ones kind of just south of Interstate 40, shall we say, like Charlotte, they haven't necessarily had to deal with this all that much the past few years. So now they are, and it's kind of a reality that might be a little bit unsettling, but it is a reality, especially if state is mandating they get this time in. Unless they get that waiver, they still have to get that time in.
Here's the thing, though. They never had to watch the crawl and wait for their school to show up.
True.
Good old days.
I remember
and then
those
you
good old
didn't
days.
see it, and you're like, wait, did I blink? Oh, no, I got to watch the whole thing again.
Yes. These days they can just go online to get
Yeah,
it. So,
exactly.
yes.
They get a text. I mean, it's all automated. Let's bring in meteorologist Andrew Brightman, who has been tracking all this rain and snow and everything we've been dealing with the past 2 weekends.
Yeah.
There's been talk that we're going to get some flurries.
Potentially. Also, just back to what you were just previously talking about. I was lucky. My high school was big. My school district was big enough. They had their own public information channel. All I had to do is change to channel 16. I knew right
lucky
away
you.
whether or not
Wow.
I was
Lucky
in
you.
school.
Wow.
We either
ahead of the
had to
game.
call
How
had to call
fancy.
in or wait for the announcement on the radio when I grew up, or watch the crawl on the local TV
crawl.
station just to
And
see
my
if it
school
showed
was
up.
never on the crawl. It
We
was
were
like,
living in the future in southeastern
Mine
Pennsylvania.
kind of was, but it was always like you had this one school that's in a district that was just a higher elevation.
Right.
And it's just like, oh, that one
And
gets
if your
the day
school is
off.
at the end of the
Yeah.
alphabet, forget it.
Good
Yeah.
luck.
Wasting the whole morning.
Yeah, just imagine waiting for Yancey County schools.
Yeah,
Yes.
Anyway, as Morgan was talking about, we do have a little bit of shower activity on the way. We've been seeing some of it this afternoon and around Charlotte. We do have the chance of a little bit of light snow this evening, really overnight here, especially to the north of Charlotte. And you want warmer temperatures. I'm not just talking 50s, 60s. That could be
Wow.
on the way as we get towards next week. Finally, this pattern is going to start to break after just nonstop cold. And we did get the payoff, I guess, in a sense, with the 11.4 inches of snow officially from that system that we saw Saturday and even into the very early morning hours on Sunday this past weekend. 43 degrees. The snow, well, just about gone here, except for the piles. The piles are going to be kind of full glacier mode here until we really start to warm up. 43 degrees, winds out of the east-northeast at about 8 to 10 miles an hour right now. Up on King Street in Boone, they've got the wet roadways currently here. Some of the alerts right now, we do have winter weather advisories now for Anson County as well as Richmond County and Stanley County as well. If we could see a little bit of wintry weather as we go through the overnight hours here. Going to be a big deal, everyone. Pinpoint radar currently watching farther off to the north here. Already seeing a little bit of a changeover near Boone here. Some snowflakes starting to mix in everywhere off to the south and east. It is all of the liquid variety right now. As we zoom out here, we go wide here across the southeast. Area low pressure moving through, so the cold air is going to start to move in, and our temperatures will start to drop as we go through the evening hours. And that's going to bring in that small sprinkling of wintry weather for some of us here across the Carolinas. Middle 30s up across the mountains, elsewhere low to mid 40s here as we head throughout the middle of your Wednesday afternoon. Now, coming up in a few minutes, my full forecast. I'm breaking down who's going to see a little bit of snow, who's not, and what's on the way as we head into the weekend. Just a few minutes.
Kids, don't get excited.
Don't get
it's
too
not
hyped.
going to be like you saw this weekend.
That you might have children the next time you see 11.4 inches of fresh powder. I was gonna say fresh pow pow again across the Carolinas. It's gonna be a long
All
time
right,
before we see it again.
Possibly even grandchildren.
I mean, it
Just
is a
saying.
once in a generation
Yeah.
type of storm for this far south.
Thank you, Morgan.
Yes. So have you had the luxury of driving, or not necessarily driving, but riding in a driverless car?
Yes.
No.
No.
You have.
The videos I have are from my experience in San Francisco.
Okay.
Oh,
So
okay.
before we go to break,
Yeah.
how scary was that?
It was interesting.
It was interesting.
Yes.
Okay. More
Well-
about that interesting topic.
Yes. In fact, there's a potential expansion coming up of those. Question is whether or
taking
not it'll
over.
actually show up in Charlotte. We don't know that question yet, but we'll tell you about this expansion that's coming up for these driverless cars. This is Queen City News Plus Live.
welcome back to Queen City News Plus Live on this Wednesday afternoon. Taking a live look at Uptown Charlotte. A couple little raindrops on the lens there. Looking at the Queen City. We'll get a full look at your forecast coming up in just a little bit.
Looks like most of the snow's off the rooftops, though.
Gonzo.
Yeah.
It'll live in your memories, though.
Yes, it will.
Yes,
because
they
we saw a
will.
lot of it.
Thank
over the
God for the
weekend.
memories, because we don't
Yes.
have any phones to capture anything. So this is kind of a sad story for the news industry. Really a big blow to a legendary news brand. The Washington Post just cut a third of its staff.
Yes, they eliminated the sports section, their forum bureaus, and some of their books coverage. There have been rumors of layoffs that have been circulating around there for weeks, and the fact that it came in, people literally found out by email today after a company-wide meeting
Whether they kept their job or didn't keep
whether
their
they,
job.
Yeah, whether they kept or if they didn't. And what's interesting here is that for those who are not necessarily familiar with the legacy of the Washington Post, you remember the Watergate scandal? Watergate was first reported on by reporters at the Washington Post. And so they have a pivotal part not only in American history, but also the publishers, the former publishing family, the Graham family. They are well known for not only their newspapers, but also their television news interests as well. And this is a big deal in the journalism world, and it's considered a bit of a sad thing. The company or the paper now is owned by Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos, and he had no comment about this. But there have been a lot of people that have been that have worked for the company. In fact, I think we were talking here at the break about a reporter for one of those foreign bureaus reporting in Ukraine, who literally found out while reporting in a war zone that they lost their job.
Right, and on a kind of lighter topic, the sports reporters, they were planning to head to the Winter Olympics. They're now not going, but we had just talked about Bezos laying off Amazon workers, and now as the owner of the Washington Post, he's doing the same thing. So it just kind of goes to show how technology is changing, more than one industry, and the wide-ranging impacts that could have on jobs.
And technology really one of the big reasons why they are doing that. Let's talk about Waymo for a little bit. They're this company that does the driverless cars. They are getting a bit of an investment, a $16 billion investment. Yes.
Just a little bit of money.
Just a little bit of money to kind of expand their services and to compete with ones that are coming out from Tesla and I believe Amazon. However, they are also planning to expand to about 20 cities. We know that they're already in California, Arizona, Georgia, Texas, Florida. But they have expansions to apparently two of the cities that are going to be expanding.
Is this Austin's footage?
This is.
Oh,
okay.
Look at that. Just you and your driver.
Yeah. They're going to be expanding to London and Tokyo. And apparently, those are on the 20 cities that they're planning on expanding to. We don't know if it's going to be like if it's going to be like cities here in the U.S. or cities across the world that they're going to be expanding to. But it's.
I mean, the company was worth $30 billion just 5 years ago. Now it's appraised at $126 billion.
Wave of the future.
So. Kudos to them.
But the big question is, will we ever see those here in Charlotte?
Well, and I also wonder, there's speculation that they're going to pursue IPO, initial public offering. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see if that's a route that they want to go down as the company just gets bigger and bigger. Yeah,
Waymo, by the way, was spun off from Alphabet, which is the same group that owns Google. So they still have quite a bit of money. They've already have quite a bit of money, but they are spinning off the company just basically to try their own thing.
All right, so we don't know what we agreed to with this next story, but apparently we are just going to hand over the controls to Austin. What do you have for us, Austin?
All right, Queen City News Plus Live fans, anchors and talent, and viewers abroad.
I'm excited.
I pose to you a question for Super Bowl 60, Seahawks versus Patriots. Now, before we go to our next video, I ask each of you, think very carefully about this. Do you want cute and cuddly or creepy and crawly?
Ooh.
Think carefully.
Okay, I have my answer.
So do I.
Do I say it?
Yeah, what do you want?
I want cute and cuddly.
Cute and cuddly.
I want creepy and crawly.
All right, it's 2-1 cute and cuddly. Folks, they've decided. All right, we go now to the Nashville Zoo, where Wilbur, the Birchatong, he's a bear cat, neither bear nor cat, makes his latest Super Bowl 60 prediction. The zoo released this video. They have 2 toy helmets, one with each of a treat inside. Wilbur can be seen very carefully going to the Seattle Seahawks
I don't care
here.
what that rodent picks.
Hey, easy now. Wilbur will take offense to that. Just a few notes. Wilbur has correctly predicted the winners of the past 2 Super Bowls, including the Kansas City Chiefs in 2024 and the Eagles in 25. So again, hopefully a third year in a row, maybe for the 12s, for our fans in the Pacific Northwest and around the country. Maybe another Seahawks win here.
So what if we chose the creepy crawly?
Do you want to see Creepy Crawly?
Yeah.
All
Why
right,
not? Why the heck not?
sure. So this is Charlotte
Oh,
in Chicago.
no.
Oh, named after our city.
I know. It's the resident tarantula at the Brookfield Zoo in Chi-Town. Charlotte has only successfully predicted the Eagles win last year, so she has been brought back to make her prediction for 2026. And as we see here by the video, should I bring that back? Charlotte also picked the Seattle Seahawks, so maybe the animals are onto something this year.
Okay.
Okay, let's get a check of your weather.
You
on
don't
that
want to
note.
talk more about that?
Yeah, let's talk about more about that. Let's get that spider off the screen.
All
right.
right, all right. There you
Thank
go.
you, Austin.
Okay.
That was fun.
Yeah,
I
you're
like
welcome.
that.
Yeah, Independence Boulevard, as you can see right now, a little bit foggy out there, but you also have to keep in mind a lot of that snow, like 97% of it, which's been out there the past couple days. In fact, this is a lot different from what we saw yesterday. Most of it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good thing.
Don't
Yeah.
cry because it's over. Smile because it happened, guys.
All right.
Really?
Those are some wise words to live by, Andrew.
I've got
Thank
lots of
you.
wisdom here in my
You do.
34 years of age.
So, since you do, if you could look into your crystal ball, what does the forecast look like?
I see warmer temperatures ahead
Oh.
as we go into next week.
Ooh.
Are you guys
Alright.
ready to see my reasoning behind it? All right,
Yes.
43 degrees right now as you step outside here in the Queen City. Winds out of the east-northeast about 8 to 10 miles an hour right now. Temperatures are starting to warm up. We got a little bit of rain and snow here up across the higher elevations, already breaking out near Boone. Also, you can see some of that wet weather down across the Sandhills here. Some moderate rain as we get down towards Lancaster County, Chesterfield County as well. As we zoom out, we go wide here. Area low pressure moving in. It's behind that system. It's where we're going to see some of the colder temperatures, some of that snow trying to move in across portions of the Carolinas. But you want warm weather. The pattern is going to start to flip as we get into next week. Middle part of next week, the warmer temperatures are ahead. We're going back above average, and I could even see as I look into my crystal ball, temperatures heading back into maybe even the middle 60s here across the Carolinas 7 days from now. So see if my crystal ball is right on that one. That's how people think I somehow forecast the weather sometimes.
Thank
That
you,
is not true.
Nostradamus.
That is not that is not true whatsoever. Future cast in motion. So as we go throughout this evening, as the colder air starts to move in, you do notice the change of snow here. Place I'm watching: Hickory, Statesville, Salisbury. You could actually see almost enough snow that I could call it accumulating. Maybe we'll call it a slushy half-inch or so on some of those grassy areas. In Charlotte, maybe a couple of flakes that you'll never actually see, because if it's going to happen, it's going to be around 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. Maybe, Ted, Annie, and Jason will see it as they're coming in for Queen City News Now. But couple of flakes possible Thursday morning, and then it's just cold air here moving in across the Carolinas, and temperatures that are going to be kind of in the low to mid 40s here across the region. If you keep moving forward here Thursday evening, partly cloudy skies, and as we go into your Thursday night here, we'll see mostly clear skies heading into your Friday morning. Chilly weather across the Carolinas, and it's heading into your Friday and the rest of the day. You do notice we do have another cold front moving in across the region, heading into your Friday afternoon. There's kind of that next Clipper system moving in here across the Carolinas. How much snowfall could we see? Again, maybe a dusting, half slushy inch on the way across the Carolinas. That's going to be about it here across the region. Overnight tonight, we've got the chance of the showers on the way. Colder temperatures moving in across the Carolinas as we get down to around the freezing mark or so. Down to about 31 in Charlotte, 31 in Chirac, upper 20s here as we've been up across the foothills and mountains, middle 20s as we get towards Boone and Jefferson. And as we keep moving forward here, tomorrow, it's going to be a chilly day. Temperature's going to be in the lower 40s across the Carolinas. We get to about, upper 30s, low 40s as well down across portions of the upstate South Carolina around the 40-degree mark. Lots of sunshine here. Charlotte, Concord, and Albemarle for tomorrow as well. So it's going to be a noticeably cooler day out there throughout the region. Heading up towards the foothills, more of the same. A little bit of sunshine here, but definitely going to feel about seasonably cool. Statesville, Salisbury, it's a similar forecast. Getting up into the foothills, there's those temperatures upper 30s and low 40s, and going to be really a struggle here just to get to the freezing mark as we head on up into the mountains. Mountain forecast, might even see a little bit of snow here in your forecast as we get to your Friday night and Saturday. That's part of that reinforcing frontal boundary I was talking about moving on in. Your pinpoint 7-day forecast. We have got a little bit warmer weather on the way, and there it is, guys. Circle your calendars for Tuesday, heading back potentially into the lower
60s.
Tuesday. Sounds beautiful.
Still got quite a bit of winter, though, left, right?
Yes, it's not over yet, but since we basically
6 more weeks to be exact.
since we tripled what we see in snowfall in about 30-hour period, I think more than likely we're probably done with snow this season, just statistically speaking. But yeah, we still got to get to middle of March here to officially end.
Okay.
All right, can't rule out the rogue storm just
rogue
yet.
storm.
Interesting encounter between a guy and police officer. He turns on the charm. Not sure why, but we'll explain after this.
Sounds like it's an offer for a date too.
Yeah.
So there was this guy that was in Colorado. He was caught committing a crime, at least according to police there, or at least the sheriff's deputies there. But he tried to kind of get out of it. And he also tried to put on the charm by.
We can listen. We have audio. Let's listen to it. See the officer chasing him, tackles him.
Stop! Put your hands behind your back! Now! Okay, guys. You got me. Can I buy you dinner?
So yeah, that happened. Can
I buy you dinner?
Yeah, the police there said that they were flattered by the invitation, but the suspect had a dinner date at the Jefferson County Jail that took precedent.
Yeah,
Yes.
probably not as good of an entree there as maybe some of the other choices that he would have selected.
Yeah, how exactly good is the jail food there?
Can't imagine
I guess
it'd
he
be
knows
great.
now. Hey,
Thank you so much for watching Queen City News Plus Live. We'll see you next time.
Yeah.
Queen City News Plus. Just search Queen City News on your smart TV's app store.